Greetings and good evening from hell or town. As I don't know if anyone's in here yet or not. I am out of town for a couple days. God, my hair looks lovely. I forgot my makeup at home. Actually, in my former bedroom. I'm at my parents' house because my dad's having the second part of his surgery tomorrow, and I decided to go live because I have to drive them to the hospital at 6 a.m. and I don't sleep very well. Most nights I don't go to sleep until, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm just trying to keep myself occupied because they're old. I think they just went to bed and it's 9 p.m. So figured I'd do a little Facebook live, or not Facebook, wrong platform, YouTube live. I was going to record a video, but then I was like, I'll just do it live. That way I don't have to do video editing. Save myself a step. That's weird. Anytime I move my head, the light kind of changes. I don't know if anyone's here, but if you are, hello. I will do, once there's more people here, I'll do the oracle reading, but I was just going to pop on and talk a little bit about, I don't know what the hell I titled this, stuff having to do with like occult, left-hand path, sort of spiritual awakening, enlightenment, path working, and ascension. Because I think those are important topics that, I'm sorry, the lighting's a little weird in here, that, you know, come up a lot and that people are talking about, and different things that have come to me through my path workings. Because it's sort of like, I feel like I've been having various comments on other YouTube videos, on Facebook, on, you know, in my own writings and groups and stuff like that, and to kind of pull it all together into sort of like a cohesive, like, you know, what my path working and stuff has been like over the past few months, and things that I've been doing. So anyways, as far as the oracle part goes, the Dark Mirror and the Dark Goddess oracle cards. And if anyone has questions as you're watching, feel free to pop in live chat and whatnot. I'm just going to keep this kind of cash, you know. I just decided to do this at the last minute, so, because I'm bored. Anyways, it's also very warm up here. But it's interesting because the windows are open and I can actually hear crickets, not city noise. I don't get to hear that very often. So anyone who's watching this at a later date, hello and welcome. I was just going to talk a little bit about a couple things that have been on my mind as far as, you know, the left-hand path journey goes. I don't know why the light keeps changing when I move my head. I don't know if it's doing it for you guys, but anyways. I hate wood paneling. It was the bane of my existence for many, many years. And I don't know why my parents have never gotten rid of it. But anyways, so I want to talk a little bit about the things that have come up for me in my path working. And it's interesting because it's come up for a lot of other people too. And I think it really is stuff that we really need to like kind of consider in our daily life and how we interact with each other. And I don't know, it's to kind of, I guess, to give a good like frame of reference is sort of looking at what spiritual awakening looks like. Sorry, I have the laptop balancing on a pillow, so I move and it bounces. It's going to look different for everyone. And, you know, if you're on the left-hand path, you might be path working predominantly with, you know, the demonic realm, gatekeepers, goetic demons, stuff like that. Or you might do a mix of a little bit of everything. Some people are going to be following the, you know, Norse pagan tradition, or any of the, you know, myriad of pantheons that are out there. Some people may choose to work with angels and archangels. And you know what? That's all okay, because you're on that journey to awaken your spirituality. And that's going to manifest differently for everyone. And, you know, not being critical of other people's paths and path working. Now, you know, I don't really work with angels and archangels. I'm not opposed to it. But, I am fascinated a lot by, sort of, the Judeo-Christian mythology around the fallen angels and stuff like that, like Lucifer and, all that. So that's something that's interesting to me and that I want to look into more in my path working. But see, this is where when I make videos and editing, when I like forget my train of thought, I just like edit that out. But most often when I'm editing videos, it's just me yelling at my cats to stop being assholes. So when we're looking at that and moving towards enlightenment, and in my path working, and the thing that's interesting coming up working with the demonic gatekeepers, and I'm currently doing some path working with the 9th gatekeeper, Satan, and and even in the previous path workings, it's a lot about doing self-discovery and shadow work and becoming a better person and things like that. And the message that I'm getting consistently, even from Satan, is all about balancing the light and the darkness within ourselves and within the world at large. And I think that really is something we really need to think about, because the world is really freaking out of balance right now. Don't have to, give you the rundown of that list of how and why, but it is. So it's finding that balance, and balance is key with everything. As is our understanding of, our journey and our path, and everyone's going to come at it differently and with different approaches. Now, I'm a very magical person, but I'm also very, rooted in logic and science too. I entertain conspiracy theories, but again, I look at a myriad of information. I'm not, I don't really follow mainstream media unless, I think I've commented on someone's post, unless a hurricane's coming and I just want to know if it, I need to run for cover. Hi there, the hermit. And, the government, not so much. I don't know. But, for me, everything in my life kind of is about the acquisition of knowledge and acquiring that knowledge from multiple sources and hearing multiple perspectives and being able to weigh opinion from fact and anything that might just, kind of be speculation. Because there's a lot of things that are probably factual that can't be proven and are kind of speculation. And there's things that just break down on a logical level. And I think I started out talking a little bit about the light and the darkness and balancing that. So that's where I was going with this, is kind of looking at how we do that in our lives. And in my path working with Satan, one of the things, and if you go back and watch the video I did, I think it's called The Prophecies of the Adversary or something like that. One of the things that came up in this particular path working was that it's our divisiveness that's destroying us from within. And what heals the world? Love heals, hate destroys, because love is the highest vibrational frequency. And what we're seeing so much of, and is like, I don't care what people believe and stuff like that. Just, I may not believe it, and I may be like, hey, here's something that you might want to consider this piece of knowledge and things like that, because I am a knowledge seeker. I always have been. And science and magic cannot exist without each other. They're very intricately intertwined. You use some herbs and things. There's a whole area of science behind, herbalism and aromatherapy, and like essential oils and aromatherapy. I've had that argument millions of times with people like, oh, there's no science behind essential oils. I'm like, actually, there kind of is. It's called like botany and plant chemistry and biology. Those are things, actual things. So, taking that into mind and how we approach our move towards I'm sorry, this is more of like a monologue right now. Anyone who's watching have questions or want to interject, feel free. But, as we move through our various stages of awakening and enlightenment, is that, we can't feel like we're now above it all, because then that just kind of puts us in the same place as everyone else, who thinks they're right and their way is the right way, and that they're the chosen and that they're the only ones who'll be saved. Because in one of my more recent path workings with the ninth gatekeeper, Satan, I asked what I could do in just a broad general sense. And he said, save as many as you can. Not save, this group of people, that group of people, only the left-hand path people. It's like, save as many as you can. There's no judgment. There's no like, well, save only, this, that, or the other thing. Because if you're doing that, if you're following that mentality, it's, you're really no better than the people you're railing against, that are only going to save themselves. So, I mean, I've found my path workings with Satan to be really interesting in that sense, because it's not all gloom and doom and darkness and destroy the world and whatnot. It's understanding that, the nature of the adversary and being an adversary, and how that can manifest in our lives, but also being an adversary without the divisiveness tearing you apart from within. Now, as I've gotten to know a lot of people on the left-hand path and things like that, I'm a weirdo city girl, probably a bit more skewed to the far left than most, but it's taken me a while to sort of realize that I was living in an echo chamber of thing, in a way, where I was just like, nope, don't want to hear it. But that's so myopic to not hear and listen to anything that goes against what you think or you believe in. And I have my hard limits on things, and I don't tolerate people being abusive and stuff like that, regardless. But it's, and I love the people that I've met on this path that we're on. I'm thirsty. I know I'm rambling a bit, but but as we work towards ascension and enlightenment, we have to become better people and do better. And in order to do that, it's balancing the light and the dark and picking and choosing our battles. Like, do you want to argue with every person that you have a disagreement with? Or do you sometimes just be like, that's your thing. If you believe that, great. If not, I'm not going to change your mind. So if you want to have intelligent discourse about something, I'm all about that. I love talking, in case you haven't noticed. But look at my journal, see some of the more recent things that I've done. Wiggle room and leeway. Yeah, I mean, that's very true. Yeah, I've been working a little bit more with like Azazel and Belial recently. Kind of felt drawn to that. One of the interesting things, trying to remember when I think this was last week, because I think E.A. Quetting was talking about the source, talked about the different realms and the source and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, Azazel. Azazel. I think I say it wrong. Realizing, one, that I don't need anyone else to balance my light and dark for me. I do that. I can do that myself. Because sometimes we put that task onto other people, whether it's, our partners or loved ones or families or, people in the community and things like that we look for. But we need to find those things in ourselves. I know I'm waxing kind of philosophical here and whatnot, and but I think it's important. But I kind of journeyed with Azazel to through the different realms and stuff to the source, and as I got close to it, I literally blacked out. It was, hello, the madman. So I'm just doing some random ramblings about pathworking and enlightenment and things like that. One of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit more as I was thinking about this as I was driving up to my parents' house is sort of how science and magic intertwine with each other. And, it's, you can't really have magic without science, because everything is sort of, I'm not talking like hard scientific theory here. I mean, we're talking like basic elemental stuff. Hi, AKA Morningstar. Welcome. But, science is part of magic. And I think, that's something that needs to be embraced. And, denying science or the impact of it, because I know some people, when they're on the conspiracy theory side of things, kind of, have some anti-science things, but or viewpoints on things. But at the same time, I'm like, if I broke my leg, I'm not going to go to the auto mechanic because I don't trust medical science to fix my broken leg. It's just applying logic and, what we have access to. And yeah, I mean, like just thinking about what we do in the magic realm, and not everything can be explained by science. Scientists will even admit that. And, there's things that I find really fascinating that, science is sort of looking at, like multiverse theory, simulation theory, stuff like that. Science is actually kind of, looking into that now as something that's plausible, but, it's also magical in its own way. So, that's something that I find fascinating. I forget where I was going with this. I really need to make like outlines for myself, because an ADHD Gemini just, we are. But, so I was rambling about magic and science. Anyways, this all sounded way better in my head when I was driving. For those who are joined a little bit later, what I was talking about is sort of up to this point is that the divisiveness is what's tearing us apart as a society. And that in a lot of my path working, everything is coming down through all the gatekeepers I've worked with, through the dark goddesses and stuff like that. But it all comes down to balancing the light and the darkness. The Hermit, what I know of science is about the same of magic. I got no real ideas, but I can roll with my faith's willing to experiment factor. Yeah, I mean, there's some, with science and stuff, like, I mean, I don't know a lot about, theoretical physics or something or stuff like that, but, gravity's a thing. And human anatomy and physiology functions in the way it functions. It's all very uniquely different. And, it's, human evolution is a thing. We are always evolving. And I think a lot of the problems we see in the world is like people don't want to evolve. or change or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I find having, again, it comes to balance. It's having a healthy amount of understanding of magic and being able to apply logic and skepticism to the world we live in. And, you know, I've seen things I can't explain. Or there's things that, like, okay, you know, I believe there is life outside of planet Earth. I've never had any encounters with aliens. I know there's people who have. I don't disprove those as being untrue, but I've never had those experiences. But that doesn't mean I don't. I mean, it would be very myopic to think that we're the only sentient beings in the universe. So, yeah. I'm just reading the comments. It's actually kind of warm up here. Sorry if my light keeps changing. Somehow, if I move in one direction, it gets like a different tone to it. No idea why. But yeah, it's you know, as someone, you know, I'm college educated, and some, granted, I went to art school, so you know, I didn't really have a lot of hard science in art school, but you know, there's still things in which science applies in the arts. You know, you have to kind of understand a little bit about geometry if you're going to, you know, build structures and be an interior designer. Excuse me. Or understanding how light works. And I'm old enough to have you know, worked with film photography and in a black and white darkroom. So, you know, pre-digital era stuff. And there was a science to that. There was lots of chemicals. Smelly chemicals. I love the smell of like that of the old. I know no one else probably knows what I'm talking about, but if you do, I love the smell of old like darkroom chemicals, like that developer, the stop bath, and the fixer. Oh. Sorry, having scent flashbacks. Yeah, I mean, same here. Yeah, Herman. I kind of came from a very sort of pragmatic, atheistic kind of background where it was. It's not that I was in denial per se of the spirit world. I just wasn't in. I guess I have trouble with authority and being told I need to worship something. Working with things, on the other hand, is not. Sorry, I need to get something to drink. I find that much easier to deal with. You know, when we're looking at the idea of the left-hand path, you know, spirits, whether you want to call them demons, dark goddesses, different pantheons, deities, etc. I'm drinking my elixir of life, Diet Dr. Pepper. But again, it's you know, I find it's really interesting. You know, the work that I've done with the spirits has really, you know, transformed the path that I've been on. And I feel like I was missing out. I was like, why haven't I done this before? You know, but I kind of probably had been, because a lot of the work that I've been doing with like the gatekeepers and dark goddesses have pointed me back to things from when I first started doing magic like 25 years ago. Like, hey, you remember that thing? That was us. So next time, pay attention. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of things that so Hermit says, I think that petroleum product vapors do contribute to certain sleep dynamics like OBE, out-of-body experience, and vivid dreams, painting and decorating at home, or working in manufacturing all day. Yeah, I agree. Especially, you know, with all the stuff I'm constantly making, for my business, all the, working with different herbs and salts and essential oils and fragrances and all those things. Thank you. Yeah, like a lot of times, like people will be like, well, what do you use for, protection? I'm like, I don't know. I've got like jugs of Four Thieves vinegar, I'm constantly bottling. Yeah, every once in a while I joke to the, if I empty, like once I empty a bottle or something down the drain, I'm like, you're welcome, West Philly. I just banished all the ghosts from your pipes. Yeah, so I mean, different things do influence, I mean, I've always been a vivid dreamer and had really great dream recall even since I was a little kid. So I think there's something maybe inherent for me, but there are things that definitely do trigger more lucid dreaming and vivid dreams, especially, on the herbal side of things, obviously with the products I make, like the flying ointments and stuff like that. Those are all going to work a lot more with making, vivid dreams and astral travel and out of body experiences more intense. AKA Morningstar says, true magic is with true intent, the way you cast it, very strong with moons. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, everything comes down to intention. And I think that, being on the left-hand path, there's always that stigma that everything we do is dark and, evil, whatever. I watched D.H. Thorne's video earlier today on the satanic panic revival kind of thing. And, I can see that being an issue again, because I've seen a lot of people kind of, looking at stuff that's going on in the world and being like, oh, this is evidence that Satan really exists and stuff like that. Or this, and I'm like, no, not really. It's, I guess where I've always stood on things is like, I really don't care what you believe and what you feel. Well, not what you feel, but what you think, what your opinions are. Like, those are your own. You own them. But I don't have to agree with them or believe in them myself, nor do you have to agree with and believe in whatever I do. But where it breaks down in the divisiveness in the world is that there's no respect for anything outside that. And we really need to move past that, and to also listen and to perspectives beyond what we think we know. Because am I going to listen to, someone shilling MLM essential oils on, oh, just take some frankincense and lavender and everything will be okay? Or maybe see a doctor for your, gaping wound in your chest or whatever. Because even then, I've had many arguments. I guess it's sort of breaking apart the magical thinking from the magic, because they're two very different things. And it's sort of like, especially like, I mean, with the MLM essential oil people, I'm like, no, honey, science is a thing. Yeah, plant science, there's all these phytochemicals that give your magical essential oils their magical powers they have. But, sometimes they come with precautions that you might want to adhere to. Because, a teaspoon of wintergreen essential oil can kill a small child. Good to know. But hey, science, what's that ever done for us? I mean, and for me, in what I do, I've always been, and I know I've talked about this in videos before and stuff, is I've always been very, very safety driven and very open about sharing the knowledge I have, because I know one of the things that's been talked about on multiple people channels is sort of the gatekeeping of knowledge and stuff. And, there are things that you know, I'm not going to post my recipe for liability issues mostly. Is I'm not going to be like, here's a recipe to make a flying ointment using toxic herbs. Have at it. Because if you go do that and kill yourself, then, you know, I'm liable for that. Yeah, I think nostalgia, Hermit says, I think nostalgia is what I get from tobacco, regardless of its physiological properties. Yeah, I've had a dream, like, actually, I'd say this afternoon. And I was smoking, in the dream, I was smoking the vanilla clove Jarum cigarettes, which you can't get anymore in the US. I used to smoke those back in the day. And I was just like, oh, like that memory of that, you know, and I mean, vaping is what, you know, not the same. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely get nostalgia from, yep, those were the ones. Yeah, and very goth. Shocking, I know. But, you know, I think, you know, nostalgia, yeah. Nostalgia and scent really do, or, yeah, some of those things really do have like a tactile. Although I will admit nostalgia is the most useless emotion known to mankind because there's nothing you can do to really quell it. You're like, I wish it was 1984 right now. I'm like, well, I don't have a time machine, so I can't actually go to 1984. But I digress. I guess I will take a little break from rambling and do the oracle reading. So I just grabbed 3 decks today. So we are going to do, I'm feeling like going with the Dark Goddesses first. So I'm just going to do 1 card from each since there's not a lot of people here tonight. These are really pretty. Oh, that's the book. Can't shuffle a book. Let me see if I can shuffle these. Sometimes, depending on the size of the cards, I have a hard time shuffling them because I have joint issue in my thumb. Okay. So, our first oracle card this evening will be one that I can't pronounce. It's Papa. I'm going to hold it up because I'm terrible at pronouncing that name. It's a beautiful card, but it says purification. It's Papalato. I never know where to do the phonetic breaks. All right. And of course, this is one that does, oh, I think they're alphabetical. Hello, Dice Controller. So, this one's purification. Toxins tend to multiply. Body screams to purify. Release old habits, cleanse, refine. Healed and whole to really shine. By the power of the Dark Goddess in me, protection in place, blessed be. So, the guidance. Are you allowing things to fester or be swept under the carpet? Time to come clean and let it all out. Whatever you've been harboring, money troubles, ill health, dark secrets, must come out into the light of day before they do you any more harm. None of these things can be sorted out by pretending to the outside world that they simply don't exist. You cannot continue on this path, and I hope it will just all go away. Face up to your troubles now, otherwise they will only continue to have power over you. Take the first steps into the light as it's Papalato, I'm probably butchering that, invites you up to the top of her incredible temple. From this wonderful vantage point, you will see the bigger picture. Allow this mighty goddess to give you the courage to purify the elements of your life that are causing you such disease. Speak to someone, professional or otherwise, who can help. And the Dark Goddess Foresight, listen to friendly advice. Pay off your debts while you can. Ooh, an unexpected pregnancy is announced. Don't put off going to the doctor. Your experiences will be called upon to help a friend. Take a walk on elevated ground, such as a moor or a hillside. The hell am I going to find a moor? So it's Zappa. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. Anyways, about this particular dark goddess. The archetypal purifier of Aztec origin, this obsidian butterfly is the fearsome warrior goddess who ruled over the paradise world. Tamoanchan, where humans were created. She was the patron of the day and of women and children who died in childbirth. To pass through her kingdom is to be cleansed of all ills and reborn again. As a star demon, she sometimes did this by devouring people during solar eclipses. So there you go. It's an interesting deck. I'll show you the card again. They're very, very pretty. I look forward to working with this deck more. This was one of the ones I just got this, I think it came on Monday. So next up, we have the Mausolea Oracle of Souls. And I used this one when I did it on Saturday. I like this deck, although the book doesn't go by it. It goes by the order of which the cards. They're like in clusters of different areas. I don't know how to describe it. So anyways, I think last time we had Osiris. So we will see who comes up this time. And who do we have this time? We have Morgan Le Fay, the Witch of the Ages. That says atonement, growth, deceit. And we need to go to English. Okay, I think, she is in the realm of the afterworld of Onwin. The domain of Onwin is the ancient hunting ground of the gods, a land of myth and folklore. It's both wild and unpredictable and bound by traditions, customs, rituals as old as time itself. To dwell in Onwin is to be bound and wild, ancient and childlike, fair and bestial. So what was Morgan Le Fay, the Witch of the Ages? A treacherous, deceitful villain in life, Morgan Le Fay spent an age in atonement for her wickedness, before being set free to wander where she wished in Onwin. A trickster and shapeshifter, she takes on the form and nature of all she encounters, the better to learn of it, and its place in the world beyond. Morgan Le Fay reminds us that through service, even the wickedest among us may learn from our misdeeds. That is a lie, a lie is a tool which can be used for good or for ill, and that the best way to learn of others is to spend a while walking in their footsteps. So that's interesting, because that kind of goes back to what I was talking about with balancing the light and the darkness, that, you know, that's something we need to all work on within ourselves and within the world we live in. So that one was on point. And lastly, we'll be doing the Dark Mirror Oracle. I think JD uses this one sometimes. I just got this week as well. Yeah. Okay. And from the Dark Mirror, we have Drop It, the Child I Was Meant to Be. That was French. Do these have numbers? 8. I like when they have numbers. Easier to find. So it says moon phase, full stage acceptance. An instant clarity is the light I needed. Visual seed. Tones of lemon yellow and plum magenta with castings of sky blue and bright morning white. The serene face of a woman with gentle gesture holds a small growing plant made of dreams and new leaves. To go forward is to go backwards, as hope heals the wounds of the past. There is little darkness in this card. It is the card of connection with ourselves. So many times it feels like dream. It's fleeting, uncertain, yet clear. The moment you close your hand to grasp it, it turns into fairy light and disappears, but it remains as a lingering smell, an ephemeral feeling of light and peaches and blossoms. It is faith. It is hope. It is a warm smile at the other side of the forest of smoke and mirrors. We can be whole again. We can be pure again. We can be happy again. No matter what we did, we can. Just know this as a gift of light among the cruel darkness. It brings no road, sometimes no solace, but it can become a seed of hope, a wind of change, a place of safety in the storm, even if it's gone. It was definitely here. It's interesting, these three cards kind of work together really well. And kind of goes back to, a lot of what I was talking about in that sort of balancing the light and the darkness. Sorry, I was just looking at my notifications on my phone. So, I think that looking at sort of the, tying everything in all together is, I guess it's the word I hear a lot is sort of radical acceptance. Like, acceptance of yourself as who you are, your limitations. One of the things I want to do a video on at some point, I have like such a backlog of videos, it's like not even funny, is like working with astral temples in the astral realm, because not everyone has the physical ability to do all these fancy pants rituals. Hey, no worries, I'm just babbling at this point. Not every, when you look at astral temples, not everyone has the physical ability to construct and maneuver through, elaborate rituals. Like, I don't have a backyard that I can do like, gigantic outdoor rituals in, and stuff like that. And, or, the money that it takes, to buy all the necessary preparations and things for that. So, when you're doing astral workings, yeah, same here. Hermit, it's, yeah, I want to be respectful of my neighbors, maybe, shouting about Satan at 3 a.m. in the morning, might draw some, anyways. But, when you're doing astral travel, sorry, what was the question? Why do people astral travel all by themselves without nothing, not listening to no YouTube or anything? It just happens by themselves. Is this actually the waking up of your knowledge? Yeah, I mean, some people can do that. It's hit or miss for me, with just being ADHD, sometimes my brain just doesn't shut the fuck up, and which makes doing things like meditation, astral travel a little difficult. But other times I can just be like, drop mind, and I'm there. So, but I usually I prefer to have something like, I usually make like playlists on YouTube and have that going in the background. Whether it's a guided meditation or just some sort of, astral travel, ambient music or whatever. Just to kind of keep my brain like, and also to block out all the extra noise because I live in the city. So, Dice Controller asks, how has something as advanced as soul travel been cast aside for so long for astral travel? I mean, really, they kind of work hand in hand in a way. Like you kind of, to understand soul travel, you need to understand astral travel, and to understand astral travel better, you need to understand soul travel better. Because I mean, I took courses in both of them, and I actually found soul travel easier in a way, like that. Just that kind of projecting outward, and a lot of the exercises, Quetting has on the mastering soul travel course on Become a Living God. It's just sort of like, oh, okay, here, okay, there, okay, yeah, I know how to do this. Like, I don't know if it was something for me that it was just sort of preternatural in a way. And some of it's a little bit, kind of thinking about it like in remote viewing, like, okay, well, I am not in my house right now, I'm at my parents' house, so okay, I want to feel what project myself to my dark goddess altar, and how I feel myself sitting on the stool in front of it, where everything's placed, picking this up, what it feels like in my hand. So some of it is, when you're going to a place like, if you're pushing your soul forth, across the room or to like a familiar place, some of it is going to come from your ability to visualize and your muscle memory of that place. Now, I can credit some of my physical muscle memory to having done darkroom photography, because I'm very acutely able to maneuver very well in complete dark. So, like when back in the day, kids, when you take a roll of film out of the canister it's in, so back when you had film cameras before digital cameras, you have to do that in complete, utter pitch darkness. So you have to lay your tools all out in front of you, and to be able to get the film out of the canister, so you have like a little bottle opener to pop the top off. Then you have to take the film out, and there are these little sort of things you coil the film onto, these reels, and you can't like miss it a little bit because it will smash together, and then it won't come out right. So you'd have to do that, put it into the thing, so there's this whole process of being able to do things in complete and utter darkness, and knowing how, exactly where you put things and exactly how to do things. So I learned to train my brain in that way. Yeah, I've heard of Eckankar soul travel. I haven't looked into it that much as of yet. I was looking a little bit more recently at some of the psychic self-defense kind of things, and just for your own kind of personal protection, especially some people are just energetically draining, and to kind of protect yourself energetically from that. Yeah, I'll definitely have to take a look into that. I know I looked into Eckankar at some point. I just didn't. In the blur of the past 6 months, I've done a lot of reading. I think I just finished like my 26th book, 27th book. It's probably the most I've read in a year. What have you used to protect your energy? I'm feeling a little drained. Sometimes I will use crystals, like a lot of the black crystals, like obsidian, smoky quartz, black tourmaline are good for that. They're very protective. If there's like a particular person that is like an energy vampire, or that kind of psychic vampire sort of thing, may or may not be intentional, you can do sort of like a binding spell on them, to kind of shield, a binding and or reflection spell to kind of bounce that back. Please just Describe exact techniques. All right. To protect your energy, I'm feeling a little drained. Yeah, I'm feeling a little drained myself, but that's just because I have stupid sleeping habits. So, I mean, I think it really depends on the circumstances. There are things that you could just incorporate into your daily life that are protective. Yeah, I've yeah, my sleeping habits are terrible, and I don't know what to do with it. I actually did last year because I had a circadian rhythm disorder. So I'm always like 6 hours off of everyone else on sleep schedules. Which is why I'm doing this, because I have to wake up. Well, I have to drive my father and my mom to the hospital for my dad's surgery tomorrow at like 6 a.m. Um, I don't normally go to sleep until like 3 or 4, if that. So I can't really knock myself out because I wouldn't be functional to drive at 6 a.m. So here I am. Sorry, there's a notification that just popped up. There it goes. All right. Yeah, so there's a lot that can be done with sleep, and believe me, I've tried it all. It always cracks me up, as if I say something about like, oh, I have trouble sleeping, then people are like, have you tried this? I'm like, yes, I've literally tried everything, just short of surgical anesthesia. But yeah, I mean, for sleep, sometimes I'll use like what you Dice, you're asking about crystals. Like some people will keep like the protective crystals like black tourmaline, or because those are also going to draw in negative energy and things like that to prevent you from becoming drained. So some people carry them in their pockets. Some women put them in their bras. I'm like, I got enough going on there. I don't need to add crystals into the mix. And or just carry our necklace or a ring or something with you. And it's usually the black stones like black onyx, obsidian, black tourmaline, things like that are really good jet. I think the darker smoky quartz, because some of the smoky quartz can be a little lighter. But those are the ones that I would go to for. Yeah, sorry, I think I just flashed you part of my bra. Um, so that's one way that you could do it, sort of like on the go, to protect your energy and stuff around you. I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, there's different things that you could do with like herbal set, or like making like a mojo bag or sachet. Like if you just take like a velvet pouch or one of those organza bags, that looking into protective herbs, or ones that kind of shield you from you know that would absorb the bad energy. Because I know I have one in my car. I think I still have it in there. It's got like Dead Sea salt, Himalayan salt, and some like sage and some other herbs and stuff in it, that you can use for protection, in sort of the broad sense. Because that's another way that you can do that. Let's see. Yeah, it's hard when you're around someone that has that ability. Um, to just be, because I mean, we're energetic beings. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that we're affected by the energies of others, and other people do unknowingly feed off of other people's energies at times. So you've got a lot going on in your mind as well, and that's why you're online. Lies, trying to run away from, yeah. um yeah, I journal a lot. Sometimes I do it all at once. Thank you. Do you ever cleanse your stones or just carry them? I tend to do like salt cleanse with my stones. So I'll just put like a bowl of like Himalayan salt or Dead Sea salt, and I'll put the stones in that and kind of rustle them around in there, let them sit overnight. Um, if I remember to put them in the windowsill or outside for a full moon. Not all stones need to be cleansed and charged though. So like selenite, I don't think needs to, or citrine as well. Um, yeah, my sleep has gone out the window. Like ever since started working from home and all the quarantine stuff. Because I was on a great sleeping pill that worked perfectly and then stopped because even when I would take like quarter of a dose, it would knock me out for 15 solid hours. I'm like, well, I don't need to sleep that long every single day. And then it just started screwing my sleep patterns up. So um yeah, I don't know. Like I'm a lifelong insomnia person, so yeah, I've got too much unique though that because some women put the crystals in their bras or whatever. I and unfortunately they don't put freaking pockets on women's clothing, which sucks. So, but I mean, if you carry it, like if you have a purse with you or jewelry or anything like that. I like amethyst a lot too. I got an amethyst and gold orgone pyramid thing. I'm still learning about that, so I don't have any answers on orgone energy. Amethyst can be a variety of colors depending on it. Like it's usually like a purple. It can be like from a deep almost black violet to almost a grayish light purple, depending on how it's cut and tumbled and stuff like that. Yeah, you can use a lot of herbs for like dream pillows and things like that, or even like a sachet under your pillow. Just take a little like a muslin tea bag, fill it with some herbs, put it under there. Just make sure it's closed tight, or you end up herbs all over your bed. Not that I've done that before. Yeah, I mean black tourmaline would dice that would definitely, or obsidian. Yeah, I like obsidian a lot. I have some snowflake obsidian, which is interesting because it's sort of like black with like white speckles. Hi, Damiante. I haven't found any good apps for crystals that I like yet. Yeah, like I feel like orgone is something that you can put your own personal energy in. I did look into it a little bit, and like it's something you can use for like you charge it with your own energy in a way. So that's one way that you can use it. Beyond that, I would have to look it up. Um, yeah, I have a lot of. I have a couple carved black obsidian pieces. I have a little black obsidian cat that's on my kitty ancestral altar, and I have a little black crow on my desk at home. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine you can journal about crystals, like your experiences with them, like with anything else. Sorry, my leg was getting stiff. Um, you can meditate on them. Experience what kind of vibrations they have. Um, Take a picture of it and identify it. So when you look in your crystal bowl, that's full of all the crystals you bought over the past year, and you're like, what the fuck is all this shit? Um, Half the time I don't recognize them. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different theories about crystals and how they work. You know, some people work with like crystal grids, and, different types of crystals work with different crystal energies and things like that. That's one area I need to kind of build, yeah, because there's so goddamn many crystals. Holy crap. And variations. And then there's ones that are sort of man-made and artificial. Yeah, I've been Labradorite. I think I finally pronounced it right, because I always want to call it Labradoodle, right? I've been using that one a lot lately. I think that one's good for like grounding. Yeah, I sometimes, I'm like, I think it was it opalite, I think, which is basically just glass. Yeah, I was like, it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at things you're drawn to. Like, there's some things I like. Smoky quartz, I'm always all about the smoky quartz. There's something that calls to me about that, or certain herbs or certain aromas and things. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of like the pendulums and stuff, most of those have crystals, the pendulum part of it. I think the one I have has a snowflake obsidian one. Mm. And thank you all for joining me tonight on my random trying to stay awake journey and miscellaneous oracle readings and babblings about crystals, left-hand path stuff, science, whatever else we may talk about. Yeah, I've seen some that are like copper, bronze, something like that. That are just metal. Most of the ones I've seen though have like crystals and stuff. Yeah. Dice is asking about charging talismans. I feel like it's one of those things, like, I'm terrible at remembering to do shit like that. So, but if I'm doing a particular, like, I have a protection amulet or talisman. So if I'm doing a protection spell, I will charge it for the protection spell. It's not something I normally wear, but I will use it within that spell work. It's the same things, with kind of using sigils and stuff like that, where you can have permanent sigils for things, or sometimes people will draw the sigil on the paper, put their blood on it and burn it after they're done with it. So there's a lot of different ways to approach that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just, again, what you're planning on using the talisman for. Like, if it's something that's for protection, then charging it. You could do a little ritual, use, protection crystals, burn some candles, that sort of thing, or use like a protection anointing oil on it. You can put it in your phone like a journal notebook. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have some journaling apps on my phone that I just kind of use for regular journaling and jotting shit down. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Unique said, you can put anything with enough intention into it, even if it's man-made, and it'll work to keep anything away. Yeah, that works too. The blood and fire method for sigil work. you know, I mean, there's different kinds of sigils. Like I have some sigil pendants. I have sigil prints. If it's something that I'm using a little bit more utilitarian wise, that, you know, in a particular spell. Yeah, I'm actually Dice. I'm actually interested in the Shamyaza amulet that J.S. Garrett did. I've watched some of the videos on it, but I haven't really got into working with Shamyaza that much at this point. So, so many demons, so little time. Yeah, that's true, Unique. I mean, you know, it's. I mean, you could really use, like, I mean, if you only had clear quartz, you could use clear quartz as your protection crystal. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, one of the black ones or whatever. But because if you put your intention into it and charge it with that intention, and that could just be by holding it in your hand, and putting that intention into it. Same thing with doing any kind of candle work and whatnot. But trying to think if there's anything else on that note. I mean, you Unique. It's you don't really have to pick. It's really not about picking a side. Um, yeah, it's. I say you do you. I mean, what works for you? I mean, you can be left-hand path, and you don't have to work with demons. You know, you can, you know, be left-hand path and working Vodun or Norse, you know, heathenry or a mix of whatever. I mean, the thing is that that's what's kind of great about the left-hand path is it's not a straight and narrow path. It's just sort of a divergent thing. Yeah, you can message me, Damiante. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people work with angels and archangels as well. Um, it's the rule of left hand path is there are really no rules. It's all about free will. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about getting the Shemyaza uh, amulet thing. Yeah, I mean, it's all about exploration, like what works for you. You might be drawn to something and be like, you know, I mean, like I don't feel a great drawing to Norse heathenry, but I recently started working with Freya because I work with a lot of dark goddesses. Am I going to work with everyone in the Norse pantheon and explore that? Probably not, but you know, it's what works for you, and you create your own path. Is basically what it comes down to. Like I started working with Lilith. That's how I started out working with spirits. Yes, yes, the hermit freestyle. But and that's the thing. It's sort of, you know, what's interesting about the left hand path, and you know, there's a lot of different people that, I mean, run into a few shitlords here and there. Don't get me wrong. Had to boot some little incel twit earlier this week or last week, or I don't remember when. Earlier this week, I think. Um, but well, yeah, Dice. I mean, the term left hand path is actually derivative from aspects of the Hindu religion, which I don't know a whole lot about, but the left half was, or the left hand path was derivative and working with like the darker gods of the Hindu religion, whereas the right hand path was obviously the opposite. So that's kind of where that came from. It's really like, I mean, I'm eclectic when it comes down to it. It's I work with what works for me, and I might not always work with the same spirits or the same um you know and yeah, I agree, Demiante, that does sound like spiritual gatekeeping. You can't tell someone how they can or can't be spiritual, and I agree. It's like I said, you do you. What calls to you, and what do you feel drawn to? And it's sort of, you might go down through one area of knowledge. Like when I was researching stuff about hoodoo, it took me into my own cultural folk magic of Slavic witchcraft and folklore and folk magic and stuff from Eastern Europe. And I didn't expect to get from point A to point B through that particular modality. So you never know where you're going to end up, and that's part of the fun of it. Yeah, I mean, there's a fine line between. I know Bill Duvendak has talked a little bit about this on his channel. Is sort of the spiritual gatekeeping, and where that falls in line with things that kind of get lumped under cultural appropriation and all of that. And I'm not going to get into all that here because that's a whole big can of worms. But yeah, black magician sounds more close to home. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to call yourself is fine. It's I use a lot of them interchangeably. I'll say left hand path, black magic, eclectic, whatever. Because sometimes things have different connotations to different people. If I don't know the crowd very well, if I'm within my local witch groups and stuff like that, it's fine. But I'm not gonna be like, hi, I'm a satanic witch if I'm with a bunch of hippy dippy Wiccans. For occultist, I use that explosion noises. Yeah, I use occultist a lot. A lot of these things are kind of interchangeable. I mean, we all kind of do. It's occult work, but yeah, I'm definitely looking into the Shemyaza amulet dice. I'm actually talking to JS tomorrow. I have my consultation for the deification, right? Maybe that'll help me like learn how to sleep. Because Lord knows I've tried everything else. It's really warm up here. What time is it? Oh my God, it's only 10:15. I am not the only time I'm a morning person is when I forget to fall asleep. Waking up in the morning is just, of course, I didn't technically wake up today till like 2:30 p.m. I was up briefly around 7 or 8 for a little bit, but then I went back to bed. Cool. What is morning? I don't know. Yeah. He said initially you might be really tired, and then you're going to have like a supercharged energy and stuff like that. So, or might only need 4 hours of sleep. I mean, I could deal with 4 hours of sleep if I didn't require me to sleep, 18 hours the next day. So, yeah, like one of the things I'm looking for with that particular ritual is sort of the balance of my energies and emotions and stuff like that. Because right now I'm on this sort of like every other day, like I'll sleep like a normal or shorter amount of time, then be like energetic, get everything done, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, I'm like, I'm just going to sleep all day and then be up for a few hours in the evening, get some stuff done. Hey, Elric. And, you know, there's no pattern to my life and sleep and wake cycles. So I'm trying to deal with that. Because sometimes I have to be places before, 5 p.m. Yeah, like this past week has been hard. Like I feel like I don't want to say like like I'm feeling blocked energetically or maybe a little bit, but um I've just had a harder time concentrating, and especially for doing like meditation and my astral travel work and things like that. Hmm, cool. Yeah, I'm really excited. I love JS and Barbie; they're awesome. So, Elric, have you put dibs and licked Saturday night for ODD live streams? Awesome. And have you got OBS figured out? I don't know what OBS stands for, but I'm going to say it stands for oh bullshit, because OBS is some bullshit. I think it's online broadcasting or something, service or something. Yeah, I've been enjoying their the Garrett's live streams, the beer boobs and something. So Dice asks, what is your take on so many practitioners smoking and drinking and doing drugs? I know Robert Bruce is not into it. Messes with my energy work, so I leave it alone except for once or twice a year. The interesting thing for me is once I started working with a lot of the entheogenic herbs that I use for my fly ointments, like I stopped smoking weed. I barely drank. I think like I opened a bottle of wine in August, had like poured a glass, took a couple sips, and that was it. I never was really a big drinker, but I just have no desire to really drink, do drugs. I mean, I vape, but that's about it. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think it's I think a lot of in my experience, like with the type of people that are drawn to sort of the left-hand path as a whole, is you have a lot of people that come from subcultures or countercultures and that kind of background where there's different things that we were talking about clove cigarettes earlier. That was something that was very, intrinsic to the goth culture, well, and or goth industrial or that whatever later became emo, but you know, so there's some things that were part of subcultures and things like that, and especially with different drugs and stuff. Like if you were into the rave scene, you were probably doing ecstasy or anything like that. So Yeah, like once I'm back, we'll have to figure out doing our live stream, or I don't know if you're going to use any of the footage we did from the podcast, the 3.5 hour podcast that started on working with infernals, somehow took a detour through World War II, 9/11, random things and whatnot. Yeah, I got to get OBS figured out too. So I want to start doing some interviews and stuff on my channel, so it's not just all me all the time. Although I am pretty freaking awesome, so you know, not that I'm immodest or anything. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't even remember what we talked about at this point. Have I mentioned that I hate wood paneling? This was actually my bedroom at one point in time. Oh, that's awesome, Elric. A pretty famous person. Steal my knowledge. Woo! I hate wood paneling. Well, when you have to stare, this is a very odd room because this is like a Cape Cod style house. It's all kind of random nooks, and like you could see it's tilted. So I spent a lot of time accidentally hitting my head on stupid walls because I'm 5'9". If I stood on the floor, I could touch the ceiling with my fingertips. So, what is the best energy books you can work with? Energy books? I'm not sure what you mean, Dice. Like books about working with energy, or I'm trying to think. I mean, I have some books on like energy healing and stuff like that, or channeling. I'm not at home, so I can't. I'm trying to like visually reference my bookshelf from memory. Thanks, Dice. Yeah, Elric, it's all about banging that wood. Ugh. Actually, if you count with all the nooks in this room, there's actually 11 different wall surfaces. Well, I'm glad you all could make it to my live stream. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. I just completely spaced out for a minute there. No, I'm not quitting already. I will. What flavor is my vape? It is called Super Mint because I used to smoke menthols, so I just get mint flavored vape juice. Thanks, Unique. I appreciate that. I'm glad. Yeah, it's always interesting. Like shut up, Elric. I'm like a knowledge hoarder, so like I love to read. I watch a shit ton of YouTube channels. One day I'm going to sit down and binge watch the entire Become a Living God YouTube channel. Um, yeah, it's just about experience and, kind of looking back at things in my own life. And, I learn from others. I talk to a lot of people. I'm involved with a couple different local witch groups where I live. Um, Dice is asking about Reiki. I haven't really gotten into Reiki yet. Some of the books I've read that were actually pretty helpful about energetic stuff were books. I know this is more on the woo side of things and whatnot, but like things about uh like empaths and protecting that kind of energy and stuff like that. I think Judy Orloff and Judith Anadia might be two good authors to check out. ASMR. I love ASMR. I've been addicted to that for years. There's some actually really funny ASMR videos. Yeah. Yeah, Robert Bruce's Astral Dynamics? I haven't finished reading that, but that was part of his astral travel course on Vogue. Have a good one, Dice. Yeah, I love having Reiki done. I haven't practiced Reiki myself. I mean, I can do like energy transference and things like that, and things like that. Um, Yeah, I did JD Temple's he did one of his shamanic Reiki sessions for me, which was amazingly powerful. I highly recommend it. Um and it's crazy because like you would think like I'm kind of like how exactly does distance energy healing work? But apparently it works. Yeah, I was skeptical about acupuncture until I pinched a nerve and it was the only thing that helped. And cupping's weird. It leaves like very weird bruises on your back or wherever you have it done. Yeah, I'll have to. I can reach out to her. Yeah, some people ASMR like there's different types of ASMR. Like certain things I don't like about it, or certain sounds. But it's for me, it's more about the person's voice than someone like I can't stand with the mouth sounds ones or like someone chewing or whatever. Crinkly sounds I'm okay with, but yeah. What is that called? Misophonia? Like, cause yeah, some people are just like, I do these sounds. Like, there's certain sounds like to me, I cannot stand the sounds of exhaust fans. Like, if you leave the exhaust fan on over the oven or like in the bathroom for too long, I will murder you. I will kill you very deadly. Because it's just like ugh. Dr. Dimitri ASMR. I like Olivia Kisper. She's originally from the Czech Republic. Her voice is just instant, like melts my brain. There's one that I liked. He did this funny oh, what was it? Like I think he might have been like reading like the Satanic Bible and like it was I don't know, it was a funny ASMR video I saw somewhere. I think Satanic Lives Matter has some ASMR videos on their channel as well. Yeah, the one that I've been watching recently, it's called Silver Hair, Hare, I believe. I like his ASMR channels a lot, or his videos a lot. Yeah. Remind me to call you while I'm eating a bag of chips and some crunchy carrots. Yeah. Weirdos on YouTube. Who would have thought? I was thinking about doing ASMR, but I think I have a very annoying voice. Like, I don't have a very calming voice. Like, I have a very strong voice, but like not. I mean, I suppose I could. See, the problem is that I could try to whisper, but like even when I whisper, I'm kind of loud. Yeah. See, the problem is I would forget, and then I just would start talking normally like this. Gemini's. Yeah. But speaking of astrology, I found a really cool astrology app because I couldn't remember. Because I know I originally screwed up my. I couldn't remember what my rising and what the heck is it called? Oh, it's called Time Passages, and you can do like your astrological chart in it. But um, so I'm a Gemini with both a Pisces moon and Pisces rising. I have no earth signs in my entire astrological chart, so I'm not very well grounded. Actually, we're all my dad, my brother, and I are all air signs, and my mom's the earth sign, so she's the one that keeps us from floating away into the atmosphere. Hoping to get up to see my brother and my niece and nephew while I'm up here. I haven't seen them since Christmas, and it's almost Christmas again. Yeah, it was a little hard because my nephew has a lot of he's very immunocompromised, so as is like he's got some rare something or another that's so rare to the point that the entire family has to get human genome testing to figure out what it is because it doesn't show up on any other testing. But he's a sweetie. He's gonna be 3 in January. Huh. Yeah, I'm learning a little bit about astrology. It was one thing. Italian whispering. Yeah. Um, I didn't really astrology was one of those things like, I'm like, oh, I'm a Gemini, whatever. I know a little bit about astrological charts, but I didn't really like pay a lot of attention to like planetary influences. But I love Bill Duvendak's channel, and he has like on his website 418 Ascendant. He has like some courses and stuff. So I'm doing this astrology fundamentals course. But and he was the person I was trying to think of for Dice Controller's question about energy working. He has tons of stuff on that. Oh, the app. What is this called? time passages. I like that one for that. The other one, I have a moon phase app, which is real. I like that one. It's really nice. And the other one that's really handy, I think this is a paid app though, but if you're doing anything with like planetary hours, like in your magic, it gives you all that like every day based on your location and stuff like that. And then when you click on it, it tells you all the stuff about the particular planetary hour you're in. So that's a cool app. Well, Unique, when I say it's almost Christmas again, I'm not skipping Halloween. It's been a gigantic blur of time since March. Like, it's like, how is it almost October? So, in the random blur of time, it will be Christmas suddenly again. Yeah, it's Halloween all year. Yeah, it's just like I can't believe like how fast time has gone. You would think it would be going really slow being stuck at home all the time. But I'm like, oh, here we are. It's almost Thursday. How did that happen? Yeah, I mean, I'm yeah, we my friend my assistants and I we went as soon as we heard the at home store had some of their Halloween stuff out in July. Guess where we were in July? Stocking up on Halloween stuff. We're not on the same planet we were 20 years ago. I'm starting to think that. Yeah, it's I don't know what it's been with time. And I was even talking with my mom about it, and she's just like, it was just Thursday 3 hours ago. I mean, it was just Sunday 3 hours ago. What the Thursday already? You know? Yeah, I agree, Alric, because like suddenly 20 years ago, everyone had seasonal allergies. I never had allergies growing up. Then suddenly, in on the East Coast, we lost spring. It just became the rainy season, and then it was hot. Yeah, one of the things like I know sometimes I'm a little touch and go when it comes to conspiracy theory things, and I do get into it sometimes with people. I have been fascinated with some of the stuff with CERN and sorry, there's a notification that just popped up in front of chat, so I can't read it. The Mandela effect, things like that. We didn't have any snow at all. I mean, in Philadelphia, we didn't even get anything amounting to an inch. And half the times during winter, we get wintry mix, which is the worst shit ever. But yeah, it's just something different. Something's going on with. Yeah, I could see that like a different dimension overlapping with this reality. Yeah, this dimension sucks. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I remember back when was it in like 2008, the night they fired up CERN, and my former husband and I were laying in bed. We're like, well, it's been good knowing you, in case the world doesn't exist tomorrow. yeah, everything just is weird, like time-wise, reality. I don't know what's going on. Earth meet Alderaan. There was a channel I used to watch a couple years ago. I think it was SMQ AI or something like that, but it was a lot about like CERN and the Mandela effect and stuff like that. Oh, good. What's that, Damiante? That's no moon. It's a CERN station. I mean, it's one of those things with conspiracy theories. It's like I'm willing to discuss them and, look at it from all different angles and stuff. I'm like, the thing is with a lot of it it's like hard to, there's no discernible like proof on a lot of things. But, you can look at it from different angles, by applying different types of, you know, philosophy, excuse me, scientific knowledge, other people's experiences. You need new conspiracy theories. All my other ones came true. Yeah. The conspiracy theory is there's no conspiracy theory. I do. I think it's my new favorite quote, Elric. That's no moon. That's a CERN station. Yeah. I've heard similar things. Demiante. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyways, um, yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like I agree. The Madman. It is a shift in the age. Like we're moving from the old age of humanity to a new age of humanity. Not the new age, woo woo, but like a new sort of, that's a lot of what we've been talking about, and I think some of what I was talking about earlier, in that sort of, because I know EA Quetting talks about a lot about moving towards that. Hi, Scotty. That mass spiritual awakening, the Enlightenment, Ascension, things like that. And that spiritual awakening can look very different for everyone. And we've become so disconnected from like literally everything, like the planet. I kind of like this planet. It's where I keep my stuff. Yeah, I said, I was like, it all went downhill when David Bowie died. I'm like, it just fucked up everything in the universe. Then Prince had to go and die the same year, and everything's just been hooey kaflooey ever since then. But yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like we are moving towards Ed Lemmy. Yeah. I definitely, I felt bad for my nephew. David Bowie died on his 18th birthday. Um, but yeah, I think we're definitely moving towards a new age of humanity, and a lot of the strife and divisiveness we're seeing in the world is because people are fighting to stay where we were. Where we were wasn't working. And, not to be political, but just saying, doesn't matter who wins this election. It's not going to suddenly make things better or worse. They're still going to be as they are right now. But yeah, like, I mean, I think there's things, Night Kelly, I mean, I think there's things that, I've definitely experienced little glitch in the matrix things over the past year, and where I'm like, or where let's not challenge the how much worse it can get. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing, the Scotty, I think the only thing holding the universe together is the fact that Keith Richards and Betty White are still alive. Knock on wood. Wait, knock on wood. I've got plenty of wood. Yep. Yeah, same with like Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, it's like some of these people are like, how are you still alive? How does this work? Sometimes I don't know how I'm still alive, but he sold his soul for rock and roll. He did start his father's ashes from the urn, so technically he huffed death or snorted death. I don't know, but yeah, one of the things I wanted to bring up, I was kind of looking back at what Elric said, grunts like Alex Jones. It's the reptilian, satanic, NWO, Illuminati. I was watching DH Thorne's video he did, earlier today on the sort of revival of the Satanic Panic stuff. And, having grown up through the Satanic Panic as a metalhead, I remember that very well. So, I think it's something that, as left hand path, black magicians, whatever you want to call us, one of the things we need to do is, enlighten people about what we actually do. No, we're not murdering babies and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like I haven't really, I don't know, with the reptilian thing. I'm like, sure, it's possible. I don't know. It's the same thing with like extraterrestrial life. I mean, like it's very myopic to think that, we would be the only ones to have gained sentience in this entire universe. Dick Cheney laughs in War Criminal. Yeah, I mean, I've always been, Demiante, I've always been like that. I'm like, well, if we can conceive of it, then it exists in some way. So if we can conceive of the notion of, say, a vampire or a werewolf or zombie, then in some reality that exists. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot, Eric, about. I mean, I've heard a little bit about the Anunnaki. I don't really know much about the Draconians and Undines. Undines? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. What is an Archon? That I'm not sure about. I've heard it. Um, I don't know how to define it though. Anyone else? Interesting. Oh yeah, Scotty, I loved Red Dwarf. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting things that come out of science fiction that are more science than fiction, or like one I think maybe I talked about this on one of my other live stream, or one of them, or a video I did. But like one of my favorite TV shows, it was on in the mid 90s, was Babylon 5, and I really loved the way that they handled the concept of like religious philosophy among the alien races. And if you haven't watched Babylon 5, I think it's on Amazon Prime. I don't know if it's free or not, but it's definitely worth. Some of the earlier episodes, the CGI is pretty mid 90s horrible, but it still holds up pretty well, and it has the best story arc. And Deep Space Nine ripped off a lot of it, so um but yeah, Babylon 5 was definitely one of my favorite sci-fi shows. And one of my favorite quotes from it was one of the alien races, of the way she described all the different beings in the universe, and it was that we are the universe made manifest, trying to understand itself. And I love that as like a philosophical spiritual concept. Yeah, I mean, that's really like, if someone asked me like what is the meaning of life, that would be, to me, literally the meaning of life. But yeah, I highly recommend Babylon 5. It's really an amazing show with a 5-year story arc, and the characters and the development and everything is just beautifully done. And like, yeah, one of the premise, a lot of it is there's these ancient races that have been around billions and millions and stuff of years, far advanced than us, that were sort of helping guide the younger races, through their journeys and stuff like that. So I don't want to give away too much of the spoilers, although it's been out for a good 20 something years. But it also kind of, one of the characters who is of one of these older races, when they reveal themselves, and it really kind of crystallized for me, like working with different spirits, is that this one being appeared, each of the alien races saw this being as a holy figure from their understanding of religion and from their pantheons. So I thought that was I really loved the way they did that. I asked Shemyaza the meaning of life, to what that was his answer: to live. Yeah, it's pretty basic, but true. The unveiling of things to come. I see we're talking about Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah. The bat incident. Ah, those were the days. Yeah, I would agree with that. We do overcomplicate things, and we overthink. I'm guilty of that. But a lot of it comes down to ego and stuff. It's like, well, I'm right and you're wrong. You must believe what I believe because it's the right. It's the only way. And no matter where you fall on the spectrum, no, you're free to believe whatever you want to believe, but I'm also free to believe what I want to believe. And there's all the things that go into that. If you want to take history or philosophy or science or math into account, or astronomy or dead languages, I don't know, it all figures into it, because a lot of things are interconnected in I mean, everything's kind of interconnected in a way. Yeah, I agree, Damiante. That's a really good. Yeah, it's not your job to save the world. It's not your job to destroy the world. It's your job to endure the world, enjoy the world while it's here. Yeah, Azazel has some good nuggets of wisdom. I like working with Azazel. A lot of times I work with Azazel and Belial together. They're a hoot. But that's the thing. It's like working with these different spiritual entities is like, what they're teaching us is, really intense, like deep soul work, that shadow work, and to, be a better person. And, here's how you do it. Demiante. But Belial and Lilith in the same room don't actually do that. I've actually done that. Because I started working with Lilith first, and then I started working with Lucifer through Lilith, and then when I started doing the rest of the gatekeeper stuff, I started working with Belial around the same time, and I think it was Lucifer and Lilith that initially kind of introduced me to Belial. Because one of the things that kind of came up in a lot of my path working, especially working with Lilith, is that, like, she holds the keys, all the keys, and stuff like that. I just remember EA talking about that, and Belial made fun of him because of Lilith. Belial makes fun of everything and everybody, and sometimes that gets him into trouble. I don't know if you've seen me talk about the ongoing gatekeeper saga of their game of Demonopoly. But it's not faring well for Belial. Yeah, I agree, Unique. Yeah. Elric, reaching out to embrace whatever may come. Yeah, I can see that. No, Belial, unfortunately, Elric, yeah, the suitcase of slugs that Beelzebub sent him got loose in his lair, so some low-level demons had to do the cleanup. And Azazel said, well, that's what you get for calling him King of Planet Slug. Yeah. So the background on this, because I've kind of talked about this in various things, is one of the times I think I was working with, it was when I started one of my workings with Satan and stuff, and it was like he asked me for like a clamshell, some sand, and 3 marbles, large marbles. Yeah, I know. But and I mentioned this to Bly. I was like, that fucker's cheating. Don't you give it to him. I'm like, cheating at what? So he explained to me this game or whatever they're playing. I call it Demonopoly because why not? Where it just is a ongoing game of strange threats and collections of objects, like Azazel owed Belial 37 toothpicks, or Belial was going to sacrifice all the carrots. Belial called Beelzebub King of Planet Slug. So henceforth, the suitcase of slugs. But you know, so this has been an ongoing thing. So when I'm working with them, I'm like, hey, so how's Demonopoly going? Fun fact, Asmodeus is winning. Because he just threatens to have sex with everyone, so he gets what he wants. And according to Belial and Azazel, his latest tactic is sending demon dick pics. And I was like, well, how does he do that? How do you guys communicate? To which Belial sighed, telepathically. So this is what demons do for fun, apparently. They torment each other with weird shit. Yeah, I was dying with that one. I was like, oh, honey, poor Belial. He's got slugs everywhere and demon dick pics popping up in his head. But yeah, it's just this ongoing game of things that, you know, random, like, if you don't give me 37 toothpicks. Yeah, so Asmodeus is in the lead, although he and Beelzebub have a truce because Asmodeus does not want to have sex with Beelzebub for some reason. And Beelzebub just threatens to give everyone, you know, things like suitcases of slugs, so they also, you know, give him what he wants. So, but I think Asmodeus is in the lead with the demon dick pics now. This will be the 9 demonic gatekeepers. But who knows? The rest of them might be in on it too. Don't challenge me, hashtag. Yeah, fet life. That's the life. Although I think now it's maybe, was it OnlyFans? Yeah, so this is what it's like working with demons. Yeah, one of the times I asked, I think it was when Belial and Azazel were talking about this. I was like, why do you guys, you know, you tell me a lot, you know, you know, why do you reveal to me some of the things you reveal and whatnot? And they're like, because you actually talk to us. You ask us how we're doing. So apparently they like if you're polite. But you know, they're like, you're constantly coming invoking us for this shit or being like, do this, do that, you know. Sometimes you just come and hang out with them and chit chat about bullshit. Apparently they like that. I agree, Elric, and that's why I want my OnlyFans to be, you know, satanic witch humiliates you and makes you cry for the Dark Lord. Because that's the kind of gal I am. Well, this live stream has taken an interesting turn from where I started out. Yeah, that would be worth the $50 a month. Oh, that's right. It's because it's all because of you, Elric. Oh. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I started I think I did Lucifer / Amamon before I did Belial. It's sort of interesting because it's like, you know, how I understand them is sort of like, again, it's the light and the dark within Lucifer, you know, because when I work with Lucifer is more of like a protector kind of person to me. Yeah, I could, yeah, unique. Lilith also is kind of very protective and whatnot. I haven't worked with Marcosius. I never know how to pronounce things. I always pronounce them wrong. Yep. Yeah, well, Belial's book came after Lucifer. So I had to work with Lucifer first. Well, technically I was working with Lilith, but I mean, I've done it also overlappingly, so I don't know. Scotty says, so in the Terry Gilliam film, Eric the Viking, the gods were little kids. The 9 demonic gatekeepers must be horny teens. Makes sense now. Yeah. And they always ask for strange things in return. You know, they're never like, give me your soul, go out and, you know, do crimes in my name. They're like, Lisa was like, I want an angel food cake with a rose petal glaze. Thank you very much. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think like I was scared at first to work with Belial. Yeah, Damiante, they will ask you the weirdest shit, and they will tell you the weirdest shit. Um, yeah, I mean, it's from what other people, you know, talked about Belial and stuff like that. I was expecting way it to be way more intense than it was. But you know, one of the things for me being older, and you know what they've said to me, they're like, yeah, you've kind of been path working for the past 10 years. You just didn't know it. You know, on my own personal journey of, you know, shadow work and you know, therapy and self discovery and all that stuff. Um, so I came at it from a different angle of having done a lot of the hard work already. So, but I was like, be cool. I mean, it still gives me hard shit to do sometimes, but you know. Um yeah, I mean, I don't I mean, I definitely feel like in working with the different spirits that I work with that I've become a different person, but I feel like I've become a better person. Like I've become more strong, I've become stronger, more resilient, um understanding, uh more able to balance the light and the darkness. Because I got to tell you, I was not doing well with this whole quarantine shit back in like May and early June. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, everything does kind of go back to paganism and witchcraft because every origin originates all the way back to paganism. Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things I mean, in working with Lilith too, when I was talking to her, sort of about, you know, like the fallen angels and different things with demons and ancient gods and goddesses, and she was like, yeah, the timelines, oh, the time worked differently back then. She's like, you know, some of these things were overlapping timelines. So, but I mean, really, most of, you know, the demons, as it were, are demonized ancient gods and goddesses or deities or fallen angels. So, yeah, yeah. I was having a really rough time back in May. It was really hard. Um, because you know I live alone. It was still things were kind of very uncertain. It was like, okay, am I working from home for 2 weeks, a month? You know, turned out to be the rest of the freaking year. Um, So, but I mean, I feel like I've gotten the hang of everything and don't want to die every day. So hooray for that. Yeah, you didn't miss much with the early quarantine era, Elric. People fighting over toilet paper. I still have not seen a can of Lysol, though, since like February. I stole one from work. But it's interesting. It's like, you know, I forget who I was talking this about, or maybe I commented on something. You know, it was like, um, you know, it's like for as shitastic as 2020 has been, and for as many weird random things that have gone on, like, you know, uh, start out with Australia being on fire. Now the West Coast is on fire, and there's been demon sperm, alien DNA, all sorts of weird shit. Um, so Ohio is hoarding all of it. Okay, well, I will be there in like 6 hours. Lexias, isn't Lilith goddess Inanna or not Inanna's maiden? Um, there's a lot of with the different ancient gods and goddesses. It's sort of like, you know, there's sort of in different pantheons, sort of the same thing. Like Astarte is also Ishtar, and I mean it's the same thing. I think there's some overlap with Lilith and Inanna. Yeah, back in when was that? In July, when Trump had some doctor on talking about how COVID was caused by demon sperm and alien DNA. Trending topics I did not think that what I was going to see. And we're like, shh, don't tell. Yeah, it's been very weird. Like, I mean, because with owning my own business, like some stuff that has got really hard to find. Like, I'm always having trouble like finding plastic bottles for products. Like, I'm down to one place because none of the other places that sell them in bulk have had them since March, because a lot of people started making their own hand sanitizer. A lot of the bulk suppliers I use for things started making hand sanitizer, so their shipping got really slow, which was annoying. And like random things went up in price. Like for some reason, pink rose petals are really expensive now, and lavender flowers are hard to find. Yeah, there's a lot of different manifestations of, you know, different spirits. Like even like if you look at Abaddon and Apollyon, excuse me. I mean, there's a lot of, well, you know, this particular, you know, god or goddess was called this by the Romans, by the Greeks, and also is similar to this, you know, from the Celtic, Norse, Mesopotamian, that sort of thing. Yeah, working with Lilith is amazing. Like I one of the things that, you know, kind of it was a funny working with her. You know, because the different she and the different gatekeepers and the other stuff is like, well, Lilith holds all the keys. And I asked her about it one time. I was like, so what's this about the keys? She's like, well, I am the mother of demons after all. I have to keep tabs on my kids somehow. And it's not like we have iPhones down here. What if they're all different like we are? It's possible. Um, but you know, there is, I mean, if you look at sort of the collective consciousness and things, you know, there's so many things that are kind of match up from cultures that never touched each other or thousands of years ago. Hold on. Excuse me. I'm not dying. I just had to sneeze. Probably because the window's open and there's nature up here. I'm used to trees and stuff, apparently. Oops. Almost missed the thing. Yeah, I mean, Lilith, I think everyone should really be working with Lilith at some point because she, I feel like, is a really crucial figure in everything that's going on, especially with the spiritual awakenings and things like that. Mm-hmm. I keep getting notifications coming up. Oh, shut up, Microsoft. Elric says they found Roman coins in South American ruins that were covered for thousands of years. Yeah, I don't know how that shit happens. Because, I mean, we have to face, you know, that a lot of our history has been lost um, over the years, and probably something's rewritten and not rewritten truthfully, or the world wasn't isolated like we think. It's possible. I mean, you know, they have Vikings having landed in North America long before Columbus or anything. I think they found ruins and stuff. I want to say like Nova Scotia. Cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, when you kind of look at, you know, how the Pangea, which was sort of like the one continent and then continental drift and how everything split apart. So it's kind of interesting when you look at sort of the puzzle pieces of how everything fits together. Okay. I'm closing Discord. You're giving me too many notifications. Hyperborea. I haven't heard of that. Okay, yeah, yeah. That still didn't do it. Anyways. Oh, it's one of the early land masses. Okay. Gotcha. Mm. Well, it's 11:20. Hi, Jezebel. Only like 7 more hours to go. Mm. Hmm. Oh, Jezebel, I don't know. We're on to no. I'm probably gonna log off at some point, but Yeah, I'm not going to beat your 6-hour record, Elric. Yeah, right now we're on to random stuff. I think we're talking about, let's see, we were talking about Lilith, gatekeepers, onto Viking artifacts, that sort of thing. Demonopoly. Let's talk about unicorns. I think my favorite, I recently watched Good Omens. Like, yes, that's who, Elric. I like the when the two characters were standing there with Noah's Ark, and like, and one of the unicorns is like, oh, one of the unicorns is go. Oh, well, there he goes. So that's what happens to the unicorns. That was actually a pretty good show. I was surprising. I liked that quite a lot. Witches love unicorns. I don't actually know much about unicorns. They've got one horn, and they look like regular horses. Petey horses. I have never personally had any alien experiences, but I'm sure other people have. I think briefly just touched a little bit on that. Like, I believe extraterrestrial life exists, even though I've never experienced it that I know of. The universe is too vast for us to be the only. I mean, if we're the only thing the universe has produced of value, the universe needs to do better. I got a thing or two to say about that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think alien life is possible. I mean, like, did they just discover something on Venus or whatever? Oh, it's officially autumn now. Strange time passes. Just yeah, I think I missed doing something for that. Ugh. Well, 2020 may almost be over, but we still have 2021 to look forward to. God only knows what 2021 is going to bring. I do want to make predictions. I mean, I've still got Cthulhu on the calendar for like a December appearance. Yeah, I know people are like, oh, did you decorate for Halloween? I'm like, I never really undecorate for Halloween. Well, I mean, Apocalypse has more. There's a difference between Apocalypse and Armageddon. Like Armageddon, that would be kind of like, asteroid hitting the Earth, fire and brimstone, that kind of, or if you want to go the biblical part of it. Apocalypse is more like a shift or a change or a moving, like an awakening to a new age, which I think we talked about at some point in the past 2.5 hours. Yeah. Yeah, this year has been. This year started out personally shitty for me. Started to get okay and then got really shitty again. It was like I spent the first couple days of the year in the hospital I had medication issues for my depression that made me suicidal. And then got that, started to get my head out of my ass, and my meds adjusted, and then my elderly cat passed away, and then got my head out of my ass, and things started getting better. And then, oh, look, there's this quarantine thing going on now. Although, I mean, I started to see the writing on the wall with that because I work for a university and started seeing, like, we're recommending no university travel. No one who is visiting from X, Y, and Z country should come for whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna start stocking up on stuff now. Yeah, this whole year has been a gigantic blur. I'm like, I don't. It's like September just started and now it's almost over. I feel bad because my brother's 40th birthday is in like a week or so. And I've been planning to do something torturous and evil to him since I was 15 for his 40th birthday. Sadly. Yeah, Australia, we're on fire. California, hold my beer and watch this. Yeah, something went just bizarrely wrong this year. Like, not even. Fire tornado, yes. Don't forget the murder hornets. Yeah, I saw the fire twister. That was kind of cool. I was like, yeah, I feel like I heard a lot about murder hornets, but nothing really came of the murder hornets. Maybe they were like, yeah, we'll come back when it's more convenient. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't. I mean, we barely got any snow last year. I mean, like, we had a very minimal dusting once. Um, I just always hated when it would snow for having to go anywhere, but hey, I don't have to go anywhere, so it can snow all the fuck it wants to. And I got 6 months worth of toilet paper, so bring it, snow. Yeah, part of the reason the wildfires were so bad in Australia was because a lot of the trees that were burning were eucalyptus, and eucalyptus is highly, highly flammable, like with the chemicals that's in it, and very caustic. So that's why some of those fires were much more intense. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like, I mean, I know from a lot of things like EA's talked about, and even Bill Duvendak and things like that, is like they're talking a lot about this like 2020 to 2025 time frame. So I don't think that I don't necessarily know that things are going to get worse before they get better, or better before they get worse, or what the fuck is going to happen, because apparently we've got fire tornadoes and murder hornets and alien sperm DNA and shit and whatnot going on. So who knows what's going to happen next. I weren't there recently a bunch of like uh, earthquakes around Yellowstone. Like, we all fucked if that goes off. Yeah, it's and now we're looking at more protests happening again because it looks like none of the police were charged in the murder of Breonna Taylor, which is fucking bullshit. But well, thank you for popping by, Jezebel. Yeah, apparently we had a earthquake in New Jersey like a couple weeks ago. It was mild, but this has been one of the most random conversations. That's what I like about live streams. You start one place and you never know where you're going to end up. Ugh. Well, I have to say, though, despite the fact that I'm up visiting my parents because my dad's having the second part of his surgery, it is nice to get out of the city and not be in my house all the time. Because, it's it's not like I'm afraid to go outside or, I've hung out with people and stuff like that and whatnot. But, it's just like I'm so busy all the time that literally I don't get to leave the house. Or other than, going to the post office. So I mostly have things delivered because I'm so busy. Grocery shopping just takes too much time, so I do grocery delivery. Oof. I love octopi. I think they are the coolest creatures on the planet. Tatum, I think Cthulhu's on schedule for December. I have to say the one great thing about YouTube live streams, this is like 90% of my like social interaction and social life in 2020. But I've met a lot of awesome people this way, so. Yeah, I've had octopus sushi before a long time ago, but no, that's one of my like lists of animals like I just won't eat anymore because they're just too intelligent and too cool. I don't like eel. I used to have dreams about octopuses falling out of trees and landing on my head. I'm sure that's symbolic of something. I prefer squid to octopus anyways. Face huggers, yeah. Ooh, we haven't had any face huggers yet this year. Maybe that's a 2021 thing. Ugh, it's hot up here. Ow. They're all in DC, yeah. Ow. Zombie face huggers attack. Yeah, I can see that happening. Legit. Touche. I'm sleepy. Not that I would actually sleep if I went to sleep, but I have to drive at 6 a.m. It's not fair. Cast iron skillets are heavy. Just saying. Alrighty, folks. Unless anyone has any like questions or things they want to talk about, I'm probably going to end the live stream soon because my brain is like blah, blah, blah. Literally quote. And I have a couple things I need to do because work. I have to finish doing my wholesale retail pricing spreadsheet thing, which is pain in the butt. So normal, yeah, pretty much. I was gonna try to finish that up. But anyways, I think I'm gonna log at least for a little bit. I think, yeah. But thank y'all for hanging out tonight and occupying 2 hours and 40 minutes of my trying to stay awake and listening to me babble about random things. But I'm gonna try to do like a weekly live stream. Maybe eventually once we figure out, or I figure out OBS on my end, doing some like guests and stuff. See you Saturday night. Yes. I'll probably be, if JS and Barbie are doing their Friday night thing, I'll probably be on that too. Depending what time I get home. I know you got dibs on Saturday. All right, folks, I am going to go pee and do a couple things, but I'll catch y'all later. Move out of the way. Bye.